It's been a very challenging time here in Suffolk County, and here to update us on all things going on in the East End in District 1 is New York State Assemblyman Fred Thiele. We're very happy to have you with us.
Well, thanks, Angela. It's great to be here.
Well, I mean, I talked to you when we did the AFTEE Feed the Need, and that was several months ago. Tell us where we are now in terms of COVID and how people on the East End and in our district are doing, and what are some of the latest accomplishments?
Well, obviously, the biggest news has been the continuing downturn in the curve and the reduction in the number of cases. My frequent calls to Southampton Hospital, on an average day, there might be 1 or 2 COVID patients. I think we've had 1 fatality in Suffolk County from COVID, basically in the last week. So, on the positive side, the numbers are way down. New infections, the rate is around 1%. We remain obviously vigilant and concerned because, we're in the middle of the summer here. I don't think it's ever been as crowded as it's been. So, we remain vigilant. But, the good news is the infection rate, hospitalizations, all of that has been low. That has allowed us in Suffolk County, and particularly on the East End, to reach phase 4 in the governor's reopening plan, New York Forward. And that means that, not everything is open, but, outdoor dining, we've certainly got, in Suffolk, you're allowed to do some indoor dining. Retail is open. Numbers, the economy, I think, particularly for retail, is down a little bit, but you look at the real estate industry and construction, and it's been the busiest real estate perhaps in history. So I think you have to look at it industry by industry, but the virus, we've really stabilized the numbers. Businesses to a large degree have been able to reopen, and but it's a constant battle. We've certainly heard in some places in Suffolk, not necessarily on the East End, where there's been a spike in cases, a party here, lifeguards at Smith Point Beach, things of that nature. But we're in a good position, and of course, looking forward, the issue where there's been a lot of focus as we're moving forward is what's going to happen with school. And the governor has put out some standards with regard to the infection rate. What will have to happen will have to be below 5%. Right now, we're at about 1% for schools to reopen. But what's that going to look like? It's certainly going to be different. Each school district has to come up with their plan by the end of July, and then the governor is going to make a decision on school reopenings in August. It's going to be different. And each school district has different circumstances, but I would expect that we're going to see a hybrid of in-person learning and virtual learning. I don't think we'll be able to completely escape virtual learning, but the goal is to have as much in-person kids in the classroom as much as possible, I think.
Right. That's interesting. I know a lot of it has to do sometimes with the size of the schools and the ventilation and the different things like that. And I know that's all coming forward. So it's like a wait and see. But I know there are a lot more people, it sounds like there are a lot more people going into the public school system out east from Manhattan maybe and other parts of the city. Is that true?
I mentioned the real estate industry, and a lot of people have bought houses or in contract for houses. A lot of rentals, the rental market has been extremely strong. But, I certainly have heard that, folks have moved out here and want their kids in the school out here. So that is something I think unique to the East End, in addition to planning to how much space do you have? What's your ventilation system? You have older teachers or younger teachers. You have to look at all of these issues.
Right.
I think there's an anticipation of an increase in enrollment on the East End with the schools in the fall also.
Yeah, it's interesting. Let's talk about the beaches. Obviously, the shoreline of the East End has been, a great draw, and it also has been a place where people come for the beauty of it, for the enjoyment of it. I want to talk about 2 things. How it's working with the beaches this summer, because I know sometimes they close after a certain time. Like this past weekend was so hot, and by 11 o'clock, I heard a lot of beaches were just closed down. And then I want to get to that new shoreline project from Fire Island to Montauk, which the FMP. So you tell me what's happening with our beaches. Our shoreline is so important to us.
Yeah, the beaches obviously are one of our major attractions and one of our great natural resources out here also. And, you know, I think the one thing this summer, whether it's the beaches or parks or arboretums or, you know, the Montauk Point Lighthouse, people want to be outside. And,
Yeah.
you know, we're in the midst, as we tape this, we're in the midst of a heat wave. And even otherwise, you know, it's been in the 80s, pushing 90 a lot this summer. So people want to get to the beaches. You know, two things. One is you got to get there early, but you know, there's a lot of coastline here. There's a lot of options for in different beaches for people to get to the beach. But you know, certainly people have had to get out and get there early if they're going by car and they want a parking lot, a space in the parking lot. The other thing, though, I think is encouraging is at the beach is that people have been compliant with social distancing and with the rules. You know, the reports I get from our town supervisors and from the county and the state parks department is that people have been compliant. You know, people want to be at the beach, but they're obeying the rules. So, you know, I think it's one of the great outlets. You know, we work really hard, not just with the beaches and the parks, but our open spaces here on the East End, and people have wanted to be outside a lot. It's safer, and but you know, I look around, I see the number of people that you see walking or jogging or you know, in the green spaces, you know, in Sag Harbor where I live, whether it's on the Long Wharf or near the windmill and all of that, you know, outside. And we're fortunate out here, and I think that's why it's one of the great attractions why people come out from the city is that we do have the open spaces, and this year more than ever it provides, I think, you know, recreational opportunities. So you know, I think in that regard things are going pretty well.
Yeah, great. Let's talk about AFTEE, all for the East End. We touched base about this months ago because the pantry situation, you know, really needed help, and you know, Jay Schneiderman called you and you helped effort this great thing with Claudia Pilato from, you know, all for the East End. How are things going with the food sourcing out there and the Feed the Need? And I know we'll talk about the drive-ins, which is also part of the AFTEE outreach. How's that going?
Well, number one, the demand is as great as ever. Yes, the economy has reopened, and you know, there are more people that are back to work, but the food pantries are still very busy. And as we go forward into the summer, we don't know what's going to happen with enhanced unemployment insurance, whether that's going to be continued. You know, the moratorium that we have on evictions, the moratorium on mortgage payments, you know, eventually all of those things are going to end, and people are going to have those responsibilities in some way, shape, or form they're going to have to meet. So we think this is going to be a need for continuing into the future. AFTEE, as you know, there's been a number of different organizations. I've been involved with AFTEE, which is kind of an umbrella group to get money to the food pantries across the East End. We had a goal of raising $1 million. We are approaching that goal. We've gotten pretty close to it. I think we're going to pass that in the near future.
That's great.
People have been great in contributing. And I think so far about $600,000 of that money has gone right back out to our local food pantries across the East End.
And I like the drive-in concept at the, it's the Elks Lodge, right? That area with AFTEE, the drive-in movie thing. This is like the new thing. Everybody's going to the movies in their car.
Drive-in movies have made a big.
Have you done it yet?
You know, you look at Newsday or in any of our weekly papers, there's a whole list of drive-in movies.
Yeah.
And, you know, so
it's great.
It gets people out. It raises money for a good cause. In this case, with AFTEE, it's been at the Elks property in Southampton. We're doing 3 weekends. This coming weekend, as we're taping, will be the second weekend, and then the last weekend in
Rocky.
Yeah.
it's Rocky. It's great. It's big films. Rocky, Transformers, Jurassic Park. I love it.
All great movies from the past, and kind of classic, iconic movies. So, the movies part of it, but I think just people being able to get out and then contribute to a good cause. It's been a great thing. And Claudia Pilato, the entire board, they've just done a great job. And I think it's something that now that it's established, will be with us to help people with food insecurity for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, I just like it so much because it's such a great regional effort. It's such a group effort. It's not just one area. It's like we are all for the East End. I think the concept is great and executed well.
Yeah, and it allows everybody to participate. Whether you're a seasonal resident or a local resident, you're from the North Fork or South Fork. It brings everybody together, and this is a time when we need to do that more than ever.
In the little time that we have left, Assemblyman Thiele, what do you see as, we talked a little bit about the FMP project, which is that it's $1 billion, is it assistance we're getting for the shoreline from Fire Island?
That is federal.
Yeah, to Montauk. How will that affect things on the East End?
Well, it's a federal funding. It came out of Superstorm Sandy. It's we're talking about glacial and geological processes, and it seems sometimes like the Army Corps of Engineers moves with glacial speed to get these projects moving. But all these years later, we're expecting in the next week or two the final approval of this project. And really, it's shoreline protection, and areas of particular concern have been downtown Montauk. Then there's the stretch of beach that runs from the Minnetonka Inlet west to East Quogue and Quogue. So this is a federal project that is designed to really strengthen the shoreline with beach nourishment projects in particular. We're talking about soft solutions. We don't want structures, on the beach, more groins, those have caused problems in the past, but it's a whole host of different projects that would strengthen the shoreline from Montauk across the East End right to Fire Island. And it's well needed, number one, because beaches are a great resource for us and great part of the economy, but they also are going to provide protection. It's just a matter of time before we see the next hurricane. This year already, we had a kind of a small tropical storm that blew through a couple of weeks ago, but it seems like a few years we deal with a major hurricane here. So we're going to need that protection on the beach. So great project, and thanks to our federal representatives for helping to shepherd that through.
Which is great. Well, there's a lot going on. I find that your Instagram page and your government page are really, really wonderful resources. So we'll put up the websites at the end, but I like reading even your Instagram daily of what you put up and what's highlighted out there. It's very useful.
Well, thank you.
And we want to say, if there's anything else you want to mention as far as an upcoming, it is, but people need to know what's going on. And I think that, you're really doing a great job of advocating and helping us know what's happening.
Well, I think, certainly during COVID-19, over the last few months, everybody talks about, what legislation are we doing? What's going on with the budget, and all those things are important. But the real focus over the last few months has really been helping constituents, whether it's been small businesses that needed aid or unemployment insurance people couldn't get through. So, those social media pages, we've used them as a way to get information to people because, people need information, need accurate information as to what's going on as far as, the governor's program to reopen or what's going on with unemployment insurance. So, we've really tried to up our game with social media. That's
great. Well, Assemblyman Fred Thiele, thank you for joining us at Facts at 5 at LTV. Please come back, and we appreciate you updating us on what's going on in Suffolk County.
Thanks, Angela. It was great to be here, and have a safe and enjoyable rest of the summer.
Thank you.